What's up, all my Ewoks, Tribbles, Droids, and Wookiees? It's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and today I'm going to be talking about the movie Cuties. This movie has sparked a lot of controversy, and it's all rightfully so. Now, I didn't intend to do more than one review, which I did. If you want to watch it, it was a scene-by-scene review of this movie. The link for that is in the description of this video. But I didn't want to talk about it anymore because I just wanted to wipe my hands of that complete filth and disgust. But I see people are actually defending this movie. Now, I know a lot of people didn't want to watch this movie because of all the disturbing, pedophilia that is surrounding and in this movie. But the fact that there are actual people out there defending this and having no problem and praising what is in this film is just completely and utterly wrong, and any sane adult can see that just watching the movie. So for those of you that didn't watch the film because you're too disturbed by what it entails, let me just give you a quick overview. And the fact that people are defending this and saying, oh, it's a coming of age story about a little girl that's, brainwashed by society, and she does that's why they twerk, and like the over-sexualization of children. Okay, let me explain to you a movie that has the actual plot and the actual story of a girl getting kind of corrupted by society. That would be the movie Mean Girls with Lindsay Lohan. Remember that movie? With Tina Fey wrote it. It's a great movie where she's just this innocent girl. She grew up in Africa because her parents were zoologists, and she goes to school. She sees like the popular girl, the plastics that are the bad girls, and she becomes one of them. She becomes the popular girl, and she figures out that that isn't what she truly wants. That isn't what makes her happy. These girls, they're all miserable, but then they just make everyone else's lives miserable, and it's miserable being at the top. And there's a message in that movie. There's also a lesson to be learned in that movie. That's a movie about a girl getting corrupted by society and what society thinks is, based on, beauty standards and social standards, and, she learns the lesson. So does the audience. This movie doesn't do any of that. It doesn't teach you a lesson about society. It doesn't teach you a lesson about, a little girl finding out who she is and what truly makes her happy. That is not what happens in this movie. Anyone telling you that is a fucking liar. And it's either because they haven't seen the movie and they're lying about it, they're trying to jump, they see that a lot of people don't like it, so they're trying to jump on the defense train because they want to be on the opposite side because they think it's going to get them some attention and some clout. Or you have the people that are just, they have an agenda, they got somebody paying their bills that wants them to say A, B, C, and D, and so they're going to say A, B, C, and D because they have an agenda to do that. Now, what this movie is actually about, it's this little girl named Ami, and they moved into this town, and Ami seems to actually have some redeeming qualities in the end of the movie, in the beginning of the movie. None left by the end of the movie. Ami seems to love her mother. She starts off, the first thing you see her doing is she's drawing art, and she's like cardboard cutout, and she leaves a little heart with a stick figure family on the bed for her mother. She seems to be a loving older sister to her two younger brothers, plays this game with her brothers, and that's it. Everything else that happens with Ami, is that she steals, and she has no remorse for stealing. She knows stealing a full-grown man's cell phone is wrong. She knows stealing her brother's clothes is wrong. She knows stealing an old woman's prayer beads are wrong. She knows stalking people is wrong, and that's what she does. She sees this girl Angelica dancing in the laundry room. She starts to covet her. This is a trait of a serial killer. Now, if you guys, one of my favorite movies is Silence of the Lambs. So when I'm watching this and I'm watching this movie, I'm like, this seems a lot like a serial killer documentary when they're talking about, like Jeffrey Dahmer when he was a kid and his parents saw that he was doing bad things, that like the pets were dying, and, he seemed like a good kid, but he had these weird quirks about him. Everything in this movie, the way that he acts and the way that she reacts to things is the way a narcissistic, psychopath acts. And when you watch interviews or documentaries on somebody like Ted Bundy and how it's like he was doing these things wrong, there were things off about him, people would point it out, and he was just such a narcissistic person. He didn't think anything he was doing was wrong, which he blatantly was. Now, Ami stalks Angelica. She stalks these girls that are in this little dance group. She follows them into the bathroom, listens to their conversations. She stalks them on social media. She wants to be these girls. When she's walking home from the grocery store, she watches them dance and they call her out. They're like, why are you watching us, you weirdo? And there's a limit to, seeing people that, and like kind of having that dream of wishing, oh, I could be like them, and straight up stalking them, which is exactly what Ami is doing to try to get into the web, to try to be one of these girls. And it's very apparent that she wants to be like Angelica. She even tries to, because she's black, she tries to take her hair and try to iron it so it's straight like Angelica's, like she had seen Angelica do earlier on in the film. And then she has no problem lying. And, lying to these girls. She has no problem lying to her mother. She has no problem, again, she already stole a cell phone. She has no problem stealing from her mother money so she can go off and buy clothing and she can buy lingerie and stuff like that. She has no remorse for hurting people. In this movie, she physically hurts people. She stabs a little boy in the hand with a pencil. She almost kills another one of the little girls that was in the group before her that she replaced, and that when the little girls kicked her out of the group because she did another crazy thing, she goes and pushes this little girl into a river. She sees that this little girl can't swim. Knowing that she could potentially drown, she doesn't make any attempt to help her. She doesn't cry for help. She stands there and watches as this little girl bobs in and out of the water. Luckily, there was a buoy there, or this girl probably would have died. But no sane person is going to stand there and see that there's somebody that could potentially drown and stand there knowing that they are responsible and have absolutely no remorse for it, which is exactly what Ami does. Absolutely no remorse for who she hurts, who gets hurt, or anything that stands in her way from, for her achieving her goal. There is something seriously wrong with this little girl. She is going out of her way. She sees these little girls dancing. And here's the thing that I think a lot of people aren't really highlighting is that these little girls, when they're dancing, it's not intended, or, the way that they're dancing isn't intended to be sexual. The way that it's filmed is zooming in to a little girl who's just starting to go through puberty and is just starting to grow boobs. Zooming into her, thin cotton shirt so that way you can see her nipples while she's dancing and they're bouncing slightly. That is fucking wrong. That is sexualizing a child. When a little girl is doing like the hokey pokey the way Elmo does, that's not sexual. When a little girl's dancing and, when you're moving your legs back and forth and even when you're swaying back and forth, guess what? Your butt's gonna move. Doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, baby, child, elderly person. Your butt is going to move when you sway back and forth. It's not intended to be sexual, but when the cinematographer and the director instructs the cinematographer to zoom into a little girl's ass and having her wear, skin-tight shorts and having the camera person focus on the fact that the shorts are slightly riding up her butt so you can see her butt hanging out, that is sexualizing children, and that is done over and over and over again in this movie. Now, the little girls, again, they're just dancing and, doing their thing and trying to be in a dance group. Now, usually, normal people, when they're filming a movie about girls that are in a dance team, you zoom out so you can see them all dance in sync. Because that's the important part of being in a dance team and being in a dance group, is that you all can do the moves at the same time. It's like 5, 6, 7, 8, and you guys all do it in sync, and that's what makes it, that's what will get you the higher scores when you go to a dance competition. I know, my mom made me be in dance for 10 years, or over 10 years, actually. I hated every second of it, but I had to do it because these little girls, a majority of little girls go into dance. I didn't like to do it because I'm not good at dancing. I'm terrible. The only dance I can do after, over a decade of dance lessons is I can do the moonwalk. And I taught myself to do that because I watched Michael Jackson videos, and that was awesome. But these little girls, they're not twerking. They don't know any of that stuff. They don't know how to dry hump the floor. Ami goes with the phone that she stole, and she goes and she watches a music video with a bunch of strippers twerking, dancing on poles, grinding on each other, eating out each other's asses. She does that when they're in, their little prayer group, and she has, I think it's called the Habib over her head, and so she pulls it up more so you can't see her face, and she's looking down watching it. She seeks these out. She sits there and, she's watching as full-grown women walk by, and she's looking at at their asses because she wants to have a big ass like that. She's coveting that. She's coveting sexualizing herself, and she teaches these other girls how to do it. She teaches these other little girls how to get down on the floor and start dry humping it. It's not right. It's not right in any way, shape, or form. And then the way that when she's teaching it, instead, again, if you're going to show a movie about girls on a dance team and they're all being on a competitive dance team, you zoom out so we can actually see the dance. But the way that they film it is they specifically zoom in on purpose to highlight little 11-year-old girls' butts, boobs, vaginas, the way that they bend over in the doggy style position, the way that they're grinding. Some adults instructed little girls to do this, and they filmed it specifically in this certain way. There's another scene in this movie where they're eating gummy bears, and it's Angelica and Ami, and they're sitting on the bed, and the way that the light is coming from the window, and they're sitting on the bed on their knees, legs spread, so the light shines through their legs and highlights, their vaginas, and they have their hands behind their backs with the gummy bears on the bed, not the way that children eat gummy bears, by the way, and they're eating it while they're making moaning sexual noises, and they pull their head up, and the camera zoomed in, and they just have their mouth open with the gummy bears in their mouth. Any adult can look at that and see how that is shot by shot from a pornographic film of a woman giving a man head and coming up with the cum shot of all the semen in her mouth. And they filmed that, but with little girls eating gummy bears. It's sick. It's twisted. I don't know how anyone can watch this film and not be physically disturbed and upset by this. Anyone defending this has something seriously wrong with them, or they're lying about watching it, or they have some kind of agenda, which is why they're praising it. No sane person watches this and thinks that any of this is okay. Then having a little girl and, the mom says over and over again, all of the adults, everyone tells Ami, what the hell are you doing? This is wrong. Everything you're doing is wrong. The mom even says, who are you? You're not my daughter. Why are you dressed like this? Are you thinking that she's possessed by some kind of demon? And so they have this scene that I posted on Twitter because people were making a big deal about the end scene, dancing, which is terrible, by the way. But this was the one that brought me to tears, is that they have this little girl, Ami. She's not a good person in this movie by any means, but doing this to a child. And it's one thing for them to, spray holy water on her and be praying, but the way that the scene is shot is a pedophile's version of being at Disneyland. You get this little girl in her undies, in a shirt where you can clearly see, the tiny little, little girl sports bra underneath, and they make her start dancing. And the way that she starts dancing is she starts bouncing her chest, her, just barely there boobs. And again, it zooms in so you can see the outline of where her nipples are. And then they make her get on her hands and knees and start twerking. And it's not a normal type of twerking. She is in full doggy style position while the camera zooms in, so you can't see her head, you can't see the mother or the great aunt off camera. And the way, instead of the normal way I've ever seen people, in these kind of scenes where they're spraying holy water on someone, they're squirting it at her as if a man is off camera ejaculating onto this little girl. And you can see the water spots on her underwear. It's like they watched a pornographic film, and then they reenacted it with a child and shot it with a child, so that way when a pedophile watches it, they can imagine themselves in it. That's why you can't see anyone else, but you can see the direction that the water the water that's representing semen is coming from. And anyone that tries to defend this and say that's not what it is a fucking liar. Children might not know what this is, which is why we cannot let children watch this film. But every single adult that watches this knows exactly what they're doing. So by saying, oh, you guys are just making a big deal over nothing, no, you're insulting our intelligence. Any normal person, any human being has the initial instinct. If there is a child around, if something bad happens, every single human, their instinct is to protect the innocent. The way that they're trying to do this to children, and they had children film this. you want to raise awareness to what's going on in, child sex trafficking and pedophiles out there with children, bring awareness to it, but by using children to show, pornographic imagery that a pedophile is going to watch and get turned on by, which it's happening. We're seeing pedophiles come out and start defending this film, and it's like, at least that's the one good thing that came out of this film, is that we can now see the pedophiles are coming out of the woodwork and they're saying, oh, there's nothing wrong with this movie, you sick, twisted fucks. This is a very disturbing movie. Again, the character, anytime they're trying to tell you that that's what the message is, that it's a little girl getting corrupted by society, that is 100% false. This little girl sought it out. It wasn't like she was walking down the street and she saw a magazine or flipping through the TV channels and saw this music video. She specifically went and found it. She found these things and decided to implement them into her life. She knew stealing a cell phone is wrong. She knew stabbing a little boy in the hand was wrong. She knew going into the bathroom trying to film a little boy's penis is wrong. She knew stalking these girls, eavesdropping on them was wrong. She knew pushing a little girl into a river was wrong. She knew everything she was doing was wrong, and she didn't care. The end scene where they're dancing, and it's basically like a strip tease with 11-year-old children, and they're specifically dressed in these tight little spandex sporty bra, or like sport bras, and like little booty shorts, and the way that they bend over, and they're shiny, and the way that the seams are, so when they bend over, it shines on where their vaginas are, and where, if a pedophile is standing behind them, where this would be a very sexual position, and them, humping the ground, like getting on the ground, dry humping it, stroking each other's asses, rubbing their pussies. It is something that you would never imagine a little girl to be doing, and they taught these little girls this, and they had them do it. And then the one moment where Ami stops, and she stops dancing, it makes absolutely no sense. She doesn't have any remorse for what she's doing. She runs back because she wants to go see her mom before the dad gets remarried, and so mom's like, you don't have to go. She just puts on regular clothing, and then she starts jump roping with this creepy, sadistic smile on her face. If they told me this was the origin story of a serial killer, I would believe it, because that's what it seems like this is. So don't believe it for a second when you read an article from the mainstream media saying that people just don't understand this film, because that's a fucking lie. It is putting pedophilia right there in your face, and it's a pedophile's wet dream. It's disturbing. The character has no redeeming qualities about her, and it's a very disturbing film, and I don't know how it got greenlit. So anyways, everyone, I feel like I've talked enough. I just wanted to make everyone aware of what actually happens in this film. And again, if you want to watch my scene-by-scene review, because I didn't cover everything, I actually left a lot out in this video, you can go watch that. The link for that is in the description of this video. So everyone, have a great rest of your day, and may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really gonna need it. Bye, everyone.
What's up, everyone? It's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and I have an Etsy store, so if you've ever wanted to own a print of my artwork, this is the place to go. As you can see, I have a lot of recognizable characters, from horror films to heroes to Star Wars characters. Some of the notable characters I have on here are Darth Vader, which I did a couple live streams painting, so you can own a print of this painting. I also have Luke Skywalker, the binary sunset version, one of my favorite scenes in the original New Hope movie. I have Darth Maul, which Ray Parks himself actually complimented me on Instagram. And then last but certainly not least, Ahsoka Tano. So if you want to own any of these prints, go right on over to my Etsy store. Again, that's The Art of Anna, That Star Wars Girl, or TSWG for short. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. What's up, everyone? I have a P.O. box, so if you want to send me some mail, go ahead and send it to Anna, That Star Wars Girl, or TSWG for short, at P.O. Box number 28171, Santa Ana, California, 927998171. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.